What if I tell you that scarcity is not real, but only a picture painted by your mind? For most of us, we grow up hearing phrases like, money doesn't grow on trees, or life is hard. And we begin to accept these words as if they were laws of the universe. But Neville Goddard reminds us that the only true law is the law of assumption, and that lack is simply an assumption we have rehearsed over and over until it feels like truth. The illusion of scarcity is powerful because it hides behind appearances, empty bank accounts, unpaid bills, or the fear of losing what little we have. Yet, if you look closer, you realize that scarcity itself has no substance. It is merely a shadow cast by belief. Every time you say, I can't afford it, or that's too expensive, you strengthen that shadow and make it seem more real. But the truth is, abundance surrounds you in ways you've never stopped to notice. The air you breathe is free, the sunrise is free, and the opportunities waiting in imagination are endless. When you shift your gaze from lack to plenty, you begin to see that the only prison was the belief that you were trapped. Neville insisted that imagination creates reality, which means the picture of scarcity is nothing more than a thought you can revise. The illusion collapses the moment you stop feeding it with fear and start feeding your mind with wealth and gratitude. Imagine looking at your life not as an empty glass, but as a wellspring overflowing with possibilities. In just 24 hours, your perception can be turned inside out, and what once looked like limitation now looks like opportunity. This is the first step in shifting from scarcity to abundance, admitting that lack was never real to begin with. It was a trick of the mind, a mirage on the desert road, vanishing the moment you decide to see differently. The scarcity illusion is the curtain, but you are the one holding the strings behind it. When you awaken to this fact, you realize you have been the author of your own financial script all along. And now, for the first time, you can pick up the pen and start writing a story of abundance. If scarcity is only an illusion, then what replaces it is the law that Neville Goddard called the law of assumption. This law is simple but life-changing. Whatever you assume to be true with feeling eventually hardens into fact. When you assume wealth, opportunities, and freedom are already yours, the outer world begins to mirror those inner convictions. Think about it. Every single thing you now experience was once something you accepted as possible in your imagination. If you assume poverty, struggle, and limitation, you will unconsciously make choices that keep those conditions alive. But if you shift your assumption to abundance, you will naturally begin to see signs that wealth is on its way. Neville often said that imagination is the creative power of God within us, and assumption is the way we give that power direction. It is not about wishing, hoping, or begging. It is about confidently living in the feeling that what you desire is already accomplished. Imagine assuming that your debts are cleared, your wallet is full, and opportunities arrive with ease. Even if your outer world still looks the same, your inner assumption begins working silently, arranging circumstances in your favor. The law of assumption demands that you act as if the abundance you seek is already present. When you accept this truth for just 24 hours, you'll see how your mood, your words, and your energy shift into a wealth vibration. Suddenly, you walk differently, speak differently, and people respond to you differently. You no longer shrink back from life as if it were scarce, but you step forward as if the universe were overflowing with gifts. The law works for everyone, whether you know it or not, so why not let it work for you in the direction of prosperity? In truth, the only reason scarcity seemed powerful is because you assumed it was real. The moment you withdraw that assumption and replace it with abundance, your entire story begins to change. And so, in just one day, you can rewrite the script of your life by choosing to assume wealth instead of lack. If the law of assumption is the key, then the lock it turns is your inner conversation. Every day, whether you realize it or not, you are speaking to yourself in silent whispers that shape the reality you live. These inner words are powerful because they act like seeds planted in the soil of your subconscious mind. When you tell yourself, I can't afford this, or money never stays with me, you are programming your world to reflect those very beliefs. Neville taught that the conversations we carry within are far more important than the conversations we have with others. If you could record your private thoughts for just 1 hour, you would hear the real story of why your life looks the way it does. To shift from scarcity to abundance in 24 hours, you must begin by interrupting the old dialogues of lack. Replace "I don't have enough" with "I already live in plenty." Switch "I'll never make it" to "I am always supported." At first, it might feel like lying to yourself, but in truth, you are simply telling the mind a new story until it believes. Remember, your subconscious does not argue, it accepts whatever you consistently feed it. That is why Neville insisted that the inner conversation is the birthplace of all outer events. If you want wealth, begin to speak wealth within. Imagine lying in bed and whispering to yourself, "I am prosperous, I am wealthy, I am free," until you drift into sleep. These words will echo in your subconscious and rise as facts in your waking life. The more you catch yourself and redirect the script, the faster your reality shifts. Scarcity begins to crumble because the voice that once supported it no longer has a platform. In its place rises a new voice, steady, confident, and wealthy in tone. This is how you reprogram the inner conversation, and in just one day, you can already feel the difference. Now that you understand the power of your inner conversation, the next challenge is to discipline it for a full day. Neville often compared the mind to a garden, and if you allow weeds to grow unchecked, they will choke the flowers of abundance. A 24-hour mental diet is the practice of watching every thought, every word, and every assumption as if your life depends on it. Because it does. For just one day, you commit to rejecting every idea of lack, fear, or limitation, no matter how convincing it may appear. If a thought like "I can't pay my bills" comes, you immediately replace it with "all my needs are already met." If you catch yourself saying "this will never work," you change it to "everything always works in my favor." This discipline might feel demanding at first, but remember, it is only for one day. The goal is not to be perfect, but to be alert and deliberate. Each time you redirect a thought, you are training your subconscious to accept abundance as the new normal. Imagine walking through the day as a guardian of your mind, refusing to entertain anything that contradicts your wealth identity. Even if outer appearances seem unchanged, the diet works invisibly, shifting your vibration into alignment with prosperity. You will notice your mood rise, your energy feel lighter, and even small coincidences appear, as if life itself is rewarding your discipline. By the end of 24 hours, you will realize how much of your past struggle came not from the world, but from the unchecked chatter of your mind. This simple practice proves that scarcity is a choice, and abundance is a choice as well. And when you complete a full day of mental dieting, you step into a new realm of mastery, knowing that your thoughts are no longer random. They are deliberately aligned with wealth. The mental diet trains your mind, but living from the end is what gives your imagination direction. Neville described this practice as assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled and dwelling in that state until it feels natural. To live from the end means you no longer look at life from the perspective of someone trying to get abundance. You look at it as someone who already has it. Imagine walking into a store, not as a person counting every coin, but as one who knows money always replenishes itself. Picture yourself opening your email and expecting good news, contracts, or unexpected blessings. Living from the end is not about pretending, it is about shifting identity. You step into the version of you who already enjoys wealth, freedom, and ease, and you let that version guide your actions. For just one day, every choice you make can be filtered through this question: how would the abundant me respond right now? When you choose clothes, walk down the street, or speak to others, you carry the energy of someone fulfilled. This doesn't mean spending recklessly or denying reality. It means inwardly knowing the outcome is secure, no matter what the present moment shows. Neville often reminded us that feeling creates the reality, not appearances. So if you can sustain the end in imagination, life has no choice but to bring it forth. When you lie down to sleep, you can replay the day as if you lived it from abundance, not lack. Over time, this inner rehearsal becomes your automatic state of being. And the most miraculous thing is how quickly the outer world begins to catch up to the inner certainty. Living from the end shows you that your desire is not far away. It already exists, and your job is to claim it now. Once you taste this way of living for even 24 hours, you will never want to return to the mindset of struggle again. Living from the end is powerful, but feeling it real is what transforms imagination into reality. Neville taught that the subconscious responds not to thoughts alone, but to the emotions behind them. You can imagine wealth all day, but if your heart is heavy with doubt or fear, nothing will manifest. To feel it real means fully embodying the sensation of having already received what you desire. Close your eyes and picture the life you want. Hear the sounds, see the colors, and feel the security and joy as if it is happening now. Allow your body to vibrate with gratitude, excitement, and certainty. The more vividly you feel your wish fulfilled, the faster your outer world aligns. Think of emotion as fuel, imagination as the map, and feeling as the engine that drives you to your destination. Even small gestures like smiling at abundance can reinforce the reality in your subconscious mind. The key is consistency. Return to the feeling again and again throughout the day. When you wake up, start with it. When you pause, remind yourself of it. Before sleep, saturate yourself in it. Doubts will try to creep in, but Neville emphasized persistence, as repetition ingrains the feeling deep within. This is how scarcity dissolves. It cannot survive in a mind fully occupied with the sensation of wealth. Over 24 hours, you can transform your nervous system, energy, and outlook simply by feeling the truth of abundance. You will notice subtle shifts. People respond differently, opportunities appear unexpectedly, and your confidence rises. Feeling it real bridges the gap between what you imagine and what you experience. It is not pretending. It is aligning your entire being with the reality that is already yours. By the end of the day, the world outside may begin to mirror the richness within. And once you feel it deeply enough, nothing can convince you that lack is possible. Even when you feel wealth, old identities can try to pull you back into poverty consciousness. Many people unconsciously identify as poor, struggling, or never enough, and these labels anchor them to scarcity. Neville taught that your identity shapes your entire experience, and until you break the poverty identity, abundance cannot take permanent root. The first step is awareness. Notice the stories you tell yourself about money, success, and worth. If you hear yourself saying, "I'm just not good with money," or "this is too hard for me," recognize that as a signal of old programming. Then comes the deliberate work of dismantling it. Affirm, imagine, and act as the person who has always lived in abundance. Begin to see yourself as naturally prosperous, as someone who attracts wealth effortlessly. Even small actions matter. Dress, speak, and carry yourself as if you already belong to the world of abundance. The mind cannot tell the difference between a genuine state and a vividly assumed one, so repetition is key. Over time, your nervous system rewires, and what once felt unnatural becomes your new default. You no longer recoil at bills, scarcity, or uncertainty because your identity is not defined by lack. Instead, you move through life with ease, seeing opportunities and resources that others overlook. Breaking the poverty identity is not about arrogance. It is about reclaiming the truth of your being. You were never meant to struggle endlessly. Scarcity was only a borrowed belief. As you replace old stories with abundant ones, your energy and confidence rise. People begin to respond to you differently, doors open effortlessly, and the world mirrors your new self-perception. Within just 24 hours, you can begin to feel a profound shift in how you relate to money, value, and possibility. The poverty identity fades because it has no home in a mind that assumes abundance. And once it disappears, you can step fully into the life you have imagined, free from the chains of old limitations. Once the poverty identity begins to dissolve, the next step is to cultivate gratitude in advance. Neville emphasized that thanking for what you desire before it appears is one of the fastest ways to manifest it. Imagine holding your hands out as if your abundance has already arrived, and mentally say, "Thank you for this wealth, for this freedom, for this life I am living." Gratitude is a signal to your subconscious that the desired state is already a fact, not a distant possibility. When you feel thankful now, your mind stops resisting and starts aligning with the reality you wish to experience. Even for small things, expressing thanks reinforces the vibration of abundance. You might say, "Thank you for the unexpected opportunity," or "Thank you for the money that flows to me easily." Doing this repeatedly rewires your brain to notice and attract more reasons to be grateful. It creates a feedback loop. The more you feel gratitude, the more your world reflects it, which in turn generates more gratitude. Gratitude in advance is different from ordinary thanks. It is a declaration that the future you want is already present in feeling. When you practice this for just 24 hours, you will notice subtle shifts. Unexpected calls, opportunities, and ideas begin to appear effortlessly. Even challenges seem smaller because you are anchored in appreciation, not fear. This practice makes scarcity impossible because your mind is occupied with abundance. It also strengthens faith as you stop doubting and start trusting the unseen mechanisms of the universe. Gratitude in advance is a powerful accelerant. It takes the imagined state and propels it into the physical world. Over time, it becomes a habit, and living in constant thankfulness becomes second nature. By the end of the day, your entire perspective on wealth, success, and life shifts. You realize that abundance is not something you chase. It is something you feel, acknowledge, and receive. And once you integrate gratitude in advance, scarcity has no foothold, and abundance flows freely to you. Now that gratitude in advance has tuned your mind, it's time to enter the powerful practice of SATS, state akin to sleep. Neville taught that the moments just before sleep are the gateway to manifesting instantly because the conscious mind relaxes and the subconscious accepts whatever you impress upon it. In these moments, you can vividly imagine your wealth, freedom, and success as fully real, feeling the emotions of already having them. Picture yourself lying in bed, eyes closed, and see the life you desire unfolding with ease, as if you are living it right now. Hear the sounds, feel the textures, and immerse yourself in the sensations of abundance. The key is emotion. Your subconscious does not distinguish between what is happening and what is imagined if it feels real. Repeat small scenarios, paying off bills, receiving unexpected money, or walking into opportunities, until the feeling of wealth saturates your consciousness. By doing this each night, even once, your subconscious begins to organize circumstances in alignment with your imagined state. SATS works because the subconscious is a faithful servant. It will bring into reality whatever you consistently impress upon it. It is not about forcing outcomes, but about aligning your inner world so fully that outer events naturally conform. Even if your bank account or job seems unchanged at first, invisible shifts are occurring in your energy, focus, and perception. You begin noticing opportunities, people, and ideas that were invisible before, all pointing toward abundance. This practice transforms ordinary sleep into a creative session for wealth, turning your nights into a secret workshop of manifestation. Within 24 hours of conscious application, you can feel subtle yet undeniable shifts in your confidence, clarity, and luck. SATS accelerates manifestation because it bypasses resistance. The critical mind is asleep and the imagination reigns. Over time, repeated use trains your subconscious to assume abundance effortlessly. Your life begins to move as if orchestrated by unseen forces that always deliver what you feel to be true. This is the essence of instant wealth shifts, feeling, assuming, and impressing until reality responds. By practicing SATS consistently, even one night can begin a chain reaction of abundance. By now, you can see that your mind is the true vault of wealth, and your imagination is the bank account that never runs dry. Neville often emphasized that what you imagine with feeling will manifest, and in this sense, your thoughts are deposits into your personal account of reality. Every time you vividly picture abundance, you are effectively making a deposit, storing value in your subconscious that the outer world will eventually reflect. Scarcity only exists when you leave your imagination dormant or filled with fears, doubts, and limitations. Conversely, if you consciously direct your mind to envision wealth, opportunities, and freedom, you create a continuous flow of abundance. Imagine checking your mental account each morning, seeing the balance of joy, confidence, and opportunity already present. Even when your physical wallet appears unchanged, your imaginative wealth is real and growing, influencing every choice and action you take. This mental balance is more powerful than any bank statement because it dictates your vibration, attracts circumstances, and shapes the people you meet. Treat your imagination as sacred, and avoid withdrawing from it with thoughts of scarcity or worry. Make frequent deposits by visualizing yourself living freely, generously, and fully. Spend some time feeling the satisfaction of achieving your goals, as this builds interest in your account that compounds over time. The more you use your imagination intentionally, the faster your outer reality aligns with it. This is the principle behind instant wealth shifts. Your subconscious cannot distinguish between imagined and real experiences if they are felt vividly. Even small imaginative exercises, done consistently, multiply your ability to attract. As you move through your day, your imagination begins to color your perceptions, helping you see opportunity rather than obstacle. Your mental account grows richer with every assumption of abundance. When you view life through this lens, scarcity becomes irrelevant, and lack loses its power. By the end of 24 hours of deliberate imagination, you will notice a subtle yet undeniable expansion in your sense of possibility. Your mind becomes a fertile ground where wealth is not just wished for, it is felt, lived, and accumulated. As your imagination becomes your bank account, you may notice old feelings of envy or comparison rising. These emotions are natural, but Neville taught that they are signs your mind is still tied to scarcity. Envy whispers, "They have what I lack," keeping you anchored in the illusion of not enough. To shift to abundance, you must consciously drop envy and replace it with inspiration. When someone else succeeds, instead of feeling small, see it as proof that wealth and opportunity exist and are available to you as well. Imagine their success as a beacon lighting your own path, rather than a shadow threatening your dreams. This subtle shift changes your energy from contraction to expansion. Inspiration uplifts your vibration, allowing your imagination to create, attract, and manifest more freely. Every time you practice this, you train your subconscious to associate abundance with joy rather than comparison. You begin celebrating others' victories as if they were your own, and in doing so, you strengthen your own belief in limitless possibility. Envy slowly loses its grip because your attention is no longer on lack, it is on what you can achieve. With each inspired thought, you feed your inner world with confidence, creativity, and assurance that abundance is inevitable. Imagine feeling genuinely happy for someone else's windfall, knowing your own abundance is arriving in perfect timing. As this becomes natural, you notice opportunities you previously overlooked, connections that uplift you, and ideas that generate wealth effortlessly. You are no longer stuck waiting for someone else's permission or luck to succeed. The mind of abundance sees opportunity everywhere and acts without hesitation. Dropping envy is a conscious practice, but one that pays immediate dividends in inner peace and clarity. By embracing inspiration, you reinforce your own wealth identity and accelerate manifestation. Within 24 hours, even a small commitment to this practice can open doors previously hidden by comparison and fear. You realize that abundance multiplies when joy and inspiration guide your thoughts, not envy. Even with imagination, gratitude, and inspiration, abundance cannot fully manifest if your self-worth is weak. Neville taught that what you believe about yourself dictates what you allow into your life. If deep down you feel undeserving, no amount of visualization or mental diet will stick. Scarcity persists when you unconsciously tell yourself, "I'm not enough," or "I don't deserve wealth." To shift in 24 hours, you must affirm your inherent worth and value. Begin by recognizing that abundance is your natural state, and prosperity is not earned, it is claimed. Speak to yourself with respect, love, and assurance, reinforcing that you are worthy of receiving all that you imagine. Notice the way you carry yourself, the words you use, and the inner dialogue that either elevates or diminishes you. Every act of self-respect strengthens your wealth vibration, aligning your inner identity with abundance. Imagine holding your head high, walking confidently, and making decisions as someone who knows they are worthy of success. Self-worth acts like a magnet. The more you feel it, the more the universe responds with opportunities, people, and resources. Doubts may arise, but persistence in affirming your value shifts your subconscious programming. Each moment you act from self-worth, you reinforce the belief that abundance is your birthright. This is why Neville emphasized that imagination alone is not enough. How you feel about yourself colors the entire manifestation process. When you feel deserving, fear and hesitation lose their power. Even in challenging situations, you maintain faith that prosperity is flowing to you. By the end of the 24-hour shift, you will sense a newfound confidence, an inner authority, and a readiness to receive. Self-worth becomes the foundation upon which all other abundance practices stand. Without it, manifestation is like building on sand. With it, everything solidifies. As your self-perception rises, scarcity begins to feel foreign, and abundance becomes your natural state. Once self-worth is strengthened, the words you speak and think become a critical tool for abundance. Neville taught that language shapes thought, and thought shapes reality. So your vocabulary literally programs your subconscious. Every phrase of limitation, I can't, it's impossible, or I don't have, acts like a withdrawal from your mental bank of prosperity. To shift to abundance in 24 hours, you must consciously replace these phrases with empowering language. Say I can, I am capable, and I always receive what I need. Speak in the present tense as if wealth is already here, rather than wishing for a future that hasn't arrived. Even internal dialogue counts. Silent thoughts carry the same weight as spoken words. Begin to notice the language of others, and avoid absorbing words that reinforce scarcity. Replace I hope with I know, and I wish with I feel or I receive. This adjustment rewires your subconscious to expect abundance rather than shortage. Small, consistent changes in speech lead to shifts in perception and action. Your vocabulary becomes a reflection of your inner state, reinforcing belief in wealth and opportunity. Use affirmations that feel natural, specific, and believable, like money flows to me easily or opportunities arrive effortlessly. Avoid complaining or recounting lack, as each repetition strengthens scarcity. Instead, narrate your day as if abundance is already present, noting successes, blessings, and growth. Over 24 hours, this conscious speech creates a vibration of wealth that attracts similar energies from the world. People respond differently when you speak from abundance, opening doors that once seemed closed. Your thoughts and words begin to harmonize, creating a feedback loop of manifestation. The abundant vocabulary is a silent but powerful key, unlocking possibilities that mere wishing cannot reach. By the end of the day, your mind, mouth, and heart all speak the same language of prosperity. And when your words align with abundance, scarcity simply cannot survive in your experience. Then with imagination, gratitude, and an abundant vocabulary, holding on too tightly can block the flow of prosperity. Neville emphasized that detachment is essential, allowing the desired state to manifest without forcing it. Trusting the unseen is the bridge between assumption and reality. When you imagine wealth, feel it, and speak it, then step back without anxiety. You create space for it to arrive. Detachment does not mean giving up. It means believing that the universe or your subconscious will handle the details. You no longer obsess over timing, amounts, or methods. Instead, you live as if the outcome is inevitable, confident that the process is working behind the scenes. This trust releases resistance, which is often the main reason manifestations stall. You stop second-guessing, comparing, or worrying about how abundance will appear. Imagine planting a seed and then stepping away, knowing that water, sunlight, and time will grow it. Similarly, detachment allows your imagined wealth to mature naturally. When you trust, you are free to enjoy the present without the burden of impatience or fear. Detachment amplifies faith, reinforcing the subconscious belief that abundance is guaranteed. Even when circumstances seem contradictory, trust keeps your vibration aligned with the end you desire. You begin to notice signs, synchronicities, and opportunities appearing effortlessly, confirming that your assumption is taking root. Detachment also strengthens resilience, as external challenges no longer shake your inner certainty. By practicing trust, you demonstrate to your subconscious that you are ready to receive. Within 24 hours, the act of letting go creates a subtle yet powerful shift in your energy. You feel lighter, freer, and more confident, knowing that what you imagined is already yours. And in this state, abundance can flow without obstruction, completing the cycle of assumption, feeling, and realization. Even with detachment and trust, old memories of lack can quietly shape your present reality. Neville taught a powerful method called revision, where you mentally rewrite past experiences to remove scarcity and limitation. Think of moments when you felt rejected, broke, or powerless, and imagine them unfolding differently. See yourself acting with confidence, making choices from abundance, and receiving exactly what you needed. By revising these memories, you stop feeding the subconscious with evidence of lack. Every forgotten transaction, missed opportunity, or humiliating moment can be transformed into proof that abundance was always possible. This does not erase the past. It rewires your perception so that scarcity no longer has authority over you. As you practice revision, the subconscious begins to accept new outcomes as your normal reality. Even one day of consistent revision can soften deep-seated beliefs of limitation. Imagine the nervous system learning that life always supports you, even in situations that previously felt hopeless. These rewritten experiences reinforce your identity as someone who is always prosperous and capable. The more you revise, the less reactive you become to current challenges, because your inner world already reflects abundance. Past failures turn into lessons or stepping stones, no longer anchors of fear. With each revised memory, the law of assumption works faster, aligning outer circumstances with your new inner story. Revision empowers you to reclaim control over your perception and your destiny. Within 24 hours, even subtle application can shift your expectations and reactions. Scarcity memories lose their grip as your imagination strengthens its authority. You begin to notice opportunities you previously ignored and solutions that once seemed impossible. By consciously rewriting history in your mind, you create a present and future unshackled from limitation. Revision and imagination are powerful, but action completes the cycle of manifestation. Neville emphasized that embodying the state you desire is essential. Your outer behavior must match your inner assumption. Acting as the wealthy version of yourself sends a signal to your subconscious and the world that abundance is your natural state. Even small gestures, walking with confidence, speaking with authority, or making generous choices, align your energy with prosperity. Imagine handling your day as if resources, time, and opportunities are limitless. When you act from this identity, people respond differently, doors open effortlessly, and new possibilities emerge. You begin to make decisions as someone who trusts the flow of life rather than someone bound by fear or lack. These behaviors reinforce your belief in abundance, creating a feedback loop between action and inner conviction. Even if you do not yet see the full financial results, your actions demonstrate that you already belong to the world you imagined. Acting wealthy is not about arrogance or materialism. It is about adopting the mindset and habits of someone who naturally attracts success. Over 24 hours, simply choosing to behave in alignment with abundance can create subtle shifts in energy, perception, and opportunity. Your daily routines, purchases, and interactions begin to reflect this new identity. Others sense your confidence and are drawn to collaborate, assist, or support you. Your body language, tone, and choices all signal that scarcity is no longer your default state. With each step, you reinforce the inner truth that you are worthy and capable of abundance. Even tasks that once felt burdensome now feel like opportunities to demonstrate your prosperity consciousness. Acting as the wealthy version of you strengthens the subconscious belief that wealth is already present. This alignment between thought, feeling, and behavior accelerates manifestation more than imagination alone. By the end of a single day, your actions can make you feel and appear wealthier, setting the stage for reality to follow suit. As you act from the wealthy version of yourself, a new sense of awareness begins to emerge. Suddenly, you start noticing abundance in places you once overlooked. The smile of a stranger, an unexpected opportunity, or the simple beauty of life itself. Neville taught that awareness is a magnet. What you pay attention to grows in your experience. Scarcity disappears when your focus shifts to the wealth already present in every moment. Even small details, a bird singing, a kind word, or a small financial gain, become proof that the universe is abundant. You begin to see resources, connections, and solutions everywhere, and your mind naturally gravitates toward possibility. This heightened awareness changes your perception of challenges, making them appear temporary and solvable. When you are conscious of abundance, you no longer react from fear, but from creativity and confidence. You notice opportunities that others miss because they are distracted by lack. Every interaction, decision, and thought becomes a chance to reinforce prosperity. The wealth of awareness allows you to see the invisible threads connecting circumstances in your favor. You realize that life is not against you. It is constantly providing, guiding, and aligning you with your desires. Within 24 hours, your mind has begun to scan for abundance rather than limitation. You feel a subtle energy shift, a lightness, and a sense of possibility that was absent before. This awareness amplifies all previous practices: gratitude, sats, imagination, and action, making them more effective. You begin to anticipate positive outcomes rather than hoping for them, creating a self-fulfilling cycle. Your senses become tuned to notice synchronicities, lucky breaks, and solutions that seem almost magical. Even obstacles are reframed as opportunities in disguise, teaching lessons and redirecting you toward abundance. Awareness strengthens your inner assumption, ensuring that scarcity has no foothold. By the end of the day, you feel aligned, alert, and alive to the wealth all around you. By now, you have felt the power of imagination, gratitude, and awareness. But some may wonder how this compares to hard work. Neville often emphasized that while effort has its place, it is imagination that ultimately creates reality. Hard work alone, without the inner assumption of abundance, can feel exhausting and yield limited results. Imagination, however, sets the blueprint for reality, guiding your actions and attracting opportunities effortlessly. When you imagine wealth vividly and feel it deeply, your subconscious begins to orchestrate circumstances in your favor. Hard work becomes more effective when aligned with this inner vision, because your actions are now intentional rather than desperate. You stop spinning in cycles of stress and scarcity and instead move with clarity, focus, and inspired energy. Imagine building a business, pursuing a goal, or manifesting money from the perspective of someone who knows it is already theirs. Each step you take is supported by unseen forces, and doors open where walls once stood. Imagination accelerates results because it removes fear, doubt, and hesitation from your actions. Effort without belief often leads to frustration, but belief guides work effortlessly toward success. When you live in your desired state first, work becomes a joyful expression of the abundance already present. Even small imaginative practices, repeated consistently, create outcomes that hard work alone cannot achieve. Your ideas flow more freely, solutions appear faster, and challenges feel like temporary tests. The combination of inspired imagination and aligned action is unstoppable. By embracing imagination as the primary creator, you conserve energy while increasing effectiveness. You begin to trust that results are inevitable when your mind and feelings are aligned. Within 24 hours, the shift in perspective allows you to act from confidence rather than struggle. Imagination is the seed, and hard work is the water that nourishes it. Both are necessary, but imagination determines the harvest. Once you grasp this, scarcity becomes an old habit, and abundance becomes your effortless way of living. By now, you can begin to structure all these practices into a daily ritual that transforms your life in just 24 hours. Neville taught that consistency and repetition anchor the mind in abundance faster than random attempts. Start your day with gratitude in advance, acknowledging the wealth already present in your life. Follow it with a mental review of your assumptions, consciously rejecting scarcity and reinforcing prosperity. Throughout the day, catch every thought, word, and feeling that drifts toward limitation and redirect it toward abundance. Practice sats before sleep, immersing yourself in the vivid sensation of already having what you desire. Incorporate visualization, feeling it real, and living from the end during small pauses in your day. Speak in an abundant vocabulary, reinforcing your identity as someone who naturally attracts wealth. Observe opportunities and coincidences with awareness, treating them as confirmations of your inner assumption. Act as the wealthy version of yourself in both small and significant decisions. Allow detachment and trust to flow, knowing that your subconscious is orchestrating circumstances in your favor. Revise any scarcity memories that resurface, replacing them with empowering outcomes. Drop envy and embrace inspiration from others' successes, using them as fuel for your own growth. Infuse every moment with confidence, self-worth, and alignment with your goals. Repeat affirmations that resonate deeply and feel authentic. Take note of synchronicities, small wins, and lessons throughout the day as evidence of your transformation. End the day by resting in the state akin to sleep, impressing your subconscious with the certainty of abundance. Within 24 hours, this structured ritual begins to reprogram your identity and perception. The result is not only a shift in mindset, but a tangible acceleration in opportunities, wealth, and inner satisfaction. When performed consistently, this ritual makes abundance a natural and effortless part of your life. After mastering all the previous steps, the final stage is to live in abundance as a continuous, natural state. Neville taught that once the subconscious is fully impressed with wealth and prosperity, it will consistently generate corresponding experiences in your life. This is no longer about temporary shifts or one-day experiments. It is about permanently assuming the state of abundance. You wake each day feeling secure, confident, and rich in opportunities, ideas, and resources. Scarcity no longer has a foothold because every thought, feeling, and action is aligned with wealth consciousness. You effortlessly attract people, circumstances, and situations that support your goals. Challenges arise, but you respond from creativity, faith, and the expectation that all outcomes serve your highest good. Your imagination, feelings, and actions operate in harmony, creating a seamless flow of manifestation. Gratitude becomes your default state, reinforcing the abundant reality you now inhabit. Detachment and trust ensure that you remain calm, patient, and aligned even when circumstances appear uncertain. You celebrate others' successes without comparison, knowing that the universe has more than enough for everyone. Daily rituals, mental diets, and sat sessions continue to deepen your subconscious programming. Self-worth and identity as a wealthy person guide your decisions naturally. Every interaction becomes a reflection of abundance, and your energy uplifts others as well as yourself. Opportunities, ideas, and resources appear continuously, often unexpectedly, confirming that the inner state drives outer reality. You no longer wait for wealth. You live it, breathe it, and express it in every moment. The law of assumption operates effortlessly through your consistent state of being. Life becomes a canvas where you freely create, knowing that abundance is infinite and ever-present. Within days, weeks, and months, what once seemed like distant dreams now becomes your everyday experience. And in living this way, you embody Neville's secret, that abundance is not achieved, it is assumed, felt, and lived as the natural reality of your life.